He needed a breakout moment, and he got one in Miami. The question now, can Julian Castro maintain the momentum and build on it? We sat down with him in Frisco just a few days ago. Mr. Secretary, thanks for the time.
Good to be with you.
Let's talk about your reputation that so many people know about. And the New York Times kind of summed it up really well in April. They said some wonder whether he is too quiet, too inexperienced, or too careful to compete in such a crowded, high-powered primary field. What's your response to that?
They saw it on Wednesday night. I answered those questions. I think for a long time, people have assumed that just because my brother Joaquin and I are respectful and polite to people, as I think folks should be, that means that I can't get in there and fight when I need to and stand up for what I believe in. I absolutely can. I showed that 5 years ago when I debated none other than now Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick over the issue of immigration. And I showed it again this past Wednesday. You know, people are wondering, can you go up against Donald Trump if you're the nominee? And I answered that question last Wednesday.
Have you spoken to Beto O'Rourke since?
We haven't spoken since, except just, you know, in passing during the breaks of the debate and I think right afterward. But we had a chance before that to talk, and he and I have always gotten along. The disagreement we had last Wednesday was not about personality. It was really about policy. My brother and I were happy to support him when he ran against Ted Cruz. We get along well. So we have a disagreement over policy, and I think people will decide who has it right on that policy.
After the debate, it was reported you had more than 16,000 new donors to your campaign. Now, I'm curious, though, specifically, what are you planning to report on your financials?
Well, we're going to report that in the next few days. As much as I'd love to break news to you, Jason, we're going to save that for a little while. But, I mean, suffice it to say that in the 4 days after Wednesday's debate, we had our 4 best fundraising days of the entire campaign. We saw a big increase in the number of unique donors, which, as you know, is important because I need to get 130,000 unique donors by August 28th to get onto the September debate stage. Right now, we're probably just over 100,000, but that's increasing rapidly. And would invite anybody to go to juliancastro.com and make a contribution. So we have momentum, and what I need to do is capitalize on that momentum. We're staffing up, we're making sure that we're organizing in these early states, and of course here in my home state, and also fundraising like crazy.
The Democratic presidential nominee is obviously going to need suburban women to flip from the GOP over to the Democrat. What's your message to them? These are voters who might be a little more conservative but may not fully agree with the current Trump administration. What do you tell them?
We can have an America where the nation comes together around the things that we all want and need. Health care for our family, a better education for our child or grandchild, good job opportunities for everybody, whether you live in a big city like Dallas or you live in a small town in America. Those are the things that I'm focused on. I'd also say to suburban women out there that there's never been an administration that has targeted women's right to choose, a woman's right to get reproductive health care, and particularly abortion, more than this president. I will fight every single day so that a woman has that right to choose and to make those own decisions about her own body.
Tell us how you and your policy proposals differ from Joe Biden, from Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, et cetera.
To me, what people are looking for is someone with the right experience to be president, someone with the right vision for the future of our country, and also someone who can win, who can beat Donald Trump. I'm one of the few folks running that has strong executive experience, having served as the mayor of the 7th largest city, San Antonio, and Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, managed a $48 billion budget, 8,000 employees. So I've been in charge of something. I've gotten things done, and I can win. I showed that I can stand up to a challenge on the debate stage. I can go toe-to-toe with Donald Trump. I can go and get the 75,000 votes that we lost in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania by in 2016, and I'm the party's best hope to get the 11 electoral votes of Arizona, the 29 electoral votes of Florida, and the 38 electoral votes of this home state of Texas.
Take us inside your campaign here. In the days since that Miami debate, I'm sure there's a lot of talk about how you sustain the momentum. What are you guys talking about? How is that done?
Well, mostly through making sure that you get the media coverage. As you know, Jason, these national media outlets, I mean, they cover 3 or 4 people. And if you're not in those 3 or 4 people, then it's a lot harder to actually sustain fundraising, to stay up there in the polls. So we're doing everything that we can to make sure that that I get the attention that I believe I ought to get. What I did the other night was that I clawed my way into this race. I earned that attention. I've been working for the last 6 months, every single day, working like our families do, just scrapping, doing what I could to put out good policies, to get out and organize in these early states. But I hadn't had a breakthrough moment until that debate. And now we're going to keep working hard every single day to maintain that higher profile, that better fundraising, more support out there.
Incumbent presidents, as you know from history, rarely get tossed out after one term, especially when the economy is doing well. The question is, where do you see a path to victory as long as the economy is doing great?
I think those old models really don't apply anymore because we live in a time when our electorate is so divided, so polarized, and most people, I think, understand that we're doing well in this country in spite of Donald Trump, not because of Donald Trump. A good example of that is the tremendous anxiety in the business community that his threat of tariffs toward Mexico has caused. I mean, the business community says that the number one thing they need is certainty. There's nobody who's created more uncertainty, more ambiguity, more anxiety about the future than this president. So he inherited a strong economy from Barack Obama. We have continued to have a good economy, I believe, in spite of him, not because of him. And these threats of tariffs and this erratic behavior has made things worse. I'd like to get to a point where we're making the right investments in healthcare and education and job opportunity so that everybody can prosper and that you know where we're going as a country.
Mr. Secretary, good luck to you and thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.